Good morning, everybody. Nick from Eat Smoke Fire. Welcome to our 9th, I think it is, 8th or 9th, live Saturday cook of lockdown. Promised usual thing, Saturday night takeaway. So this week's takeaway is kebabs and burgers. So we're going to cook some rolls, we're going to cook some flatbreads. I'm going to tell you about how to cook your brisket for the kebabs. I'm going to do some smash burgers, so really quick and easy burgers to do. We're going to do some deep frying as well, and so on. But what thought I'd do is say to those that you were waiting for us to join us, and when we went live, we don't see your names, by the way. So if you want us to give you a shout out, then you need to make some comments. And if you've got a funny username that we won't recognise, then you might want to put your name in there. So anyway, so welcome. Usual thing. I'm going to grab the camera. So Andy is still here.
Morning.
Yeah, still here. No chance of getting rid of her, but you know, but at least she's loving the sunshine again. So Andy on the camera, or Andrea, Helena over here.
Morning.
iPad and taking your questions. So if you see Mrs. Meat Smoke Fire, that's Helena. She'll be doing all the typing and answering the questions. And I've just seen Annie Williams come on. So morning, Annie. How are you? My niece down in London. So hi, Annie. So yeah, let's get straight to it. Now, I've got an opportunity today to do a load and a light, and I know there are still people out there struggling with getting their egg to the correct temperature and so on. So I'm going to run you through it while we do other things. So let's just go straight to this egg in the middle here. So if you have a look in, Andy, I have brushed it down a bit. I have raked the coals a bit. But what you can see is there's coals left in from the last cook. I do have one of the new stainless steel baskets in, so I can just lift everything out, which is really handy. And then you can shake it over a bin, so all that ash goes in there. I mean, if you look in there, Andy, you'll see there's not very much in the bottom because I've tidied it up a bit today. So I'll pop that back in. And all I'm going to do is fill it with charcoal. You dive in, Andy, what you should be able to see is I filled it sort of level with that fire bowl. So where the fire ring and the fire bowl meet, I filled it level to there. And the way I light them is make a little hole in the middle, and I normally do it with a lighter. I've not got big green egg lighters. I've got some of these rolled up wood things. I'm just going to light that, pop it in the middle, put a little bit of charcoal over it, don't smother it, that's it. I'm going to open the draft door at the bottom, and now I'm going to leave it with the lid open for 10 minutes. You want to get maximum oxygen in there. If you're getting a lot of smoke, it's because you've smothered your charcoal. What you really want to be able to do, and he says, I'm just trying to set it up to show you a little bit, is you should be able to see some flames. So if you look in there, Andy, you might have to come around here. There's a little bit of flame. If you've got flame, it won't smoke much, and so it won't annoy your neighbours. So that's the best way of lighting it. Just let the air come through, it will get hot, and we're just going to leave that for 10 minutes. So if Paul White is on here, you're timing it, Paul.
I haven't seen it.
So Paul's a friend of mine down in Devon, and a couple of weeks ago he started commenting on my timing, so he's now the official timer. Right, I'm just going to give these a tiny wash. So any shout outs, any hangovers this morning?
Not yet, no. So Nigel's on in Ireland.
Nigel and Nicola in Northern Ireland on every week. God, blimey.
T's just joined.
Morning, T. Good to have you on.
Mum's on.
Hello, Mama.
The Williams clan are travelling to Lichfield in the car, listening and watching.
Oh, they're watching in the car. It's my brother and his wife and the kids going to see his wife's parents. So perfect. I hope that didn't ruin a surprise or anything. Cool. Right. This egg. We're going to cook some brioche rolls on here. So a lot of you've done my brioche rolls. A lot of you haven't. So we're going to do those. I've already made the rolls, but let me just show you the setup. So in here I have the convector with the feet up. I've got a stainless steel grid on top, and then I've got a baking stone. Now I'm actually cheating. I'm using the Egg Genius today, just because there's a lot going on. So it's down here, and that's blowing the perfect amount of air in there. So I've set it for 220 degrees. But I did want to show you this that we found this week. Somebody found online, and I've posted it. This is, the Egg Genius is 12 volts, which is a real pain because you need to plug it in. However, if you own something like this, an iPhone or a phone power bank, you can get this cable that converts it from USB 5 volts to 12 volts. So I can plug that into there and then plug that into the Genius and run it on a battery, and it will run perfectly on that. So I've tried it, works fine, and I've actually got it running on a slightly different battery down here, but yeah, it's working fine. Right, let's get on to the brioche. I think we'll stay, well, we can swap sides and it probably help. So on my website there is a brioche bun recipe. So this is half a batch. That one's a bit small, but this is half a batch, and all I'm going to do with these, so I did the recipe this morning. Let me just whisk this. Just an egg in here, one egg. I'm going to egg wash the rolls. So I made this recipe this morning. You leave it for about 2 hours to prove. Then I knocked it back and then split it into 12, balled it and put them on here. And all I'm going to do with these is just egg wash them quickly, just so they have a nice shine on them. So we'll just whiz through these. So any questions yet, Helena?
No questions.
So feel free, people, to ask questions. Helena will write them down, and then when we've got the perfect time, then we can try and answer those for you. So quick egg wash. Just be gentle with them. You don't want to bash them because it will knock all the air out of them. I've got another batch inside to do. You can just about get 12 on here, but it looks better if you do 6. So, and then I'm just going to sprinkle them, a few sesame seeds on the top, make them into proper burger buns. So there they go. And what I'm going to do, I've got them on a piece of greaseproof paper because it makes it easy to move them on and off the egg. So I'm going to open this egg. I've got them on a tray, but all I do, hold the greaseproof paper, pull that out. Now you'll see this greaseproof paper is pretty much the size of my pizza stone. There is a technique to that. If you get your piece of greaseproof paper and fold it in half, and then you fold it in half again, and this corner where it's folded, and then you fold in half at that with that corner staying, and then you fold in half again, you can just cut the top off, open it out, and you'll have a perfect circle, or a dodecahedron, or whatever it is. But then it should, if you get it right, match your pizza stone. Right, about 13 minutes on those. So that's going to be 11:38. So well, at 48 on the hour roughly. Is that right? No. Anyway, Helena can set an alarm.
Did you say
13 minutes. Something like that. We'll have a look in a minute. Okay. So, any questions yet, Helena?
Yes. Someone has said, when would you use, I think it was legs down on the convector?
Yeah, so we've had this question before. When would you use legs down on the convector? The only time I ever do that is when I'm cooking my rack of lamb or my cauliflower dish. I will definitely not do that for pizza. Legs up for pizza, legs up for pretty much everything. But occasionally, if you look on my website, there's a lovely French trimmed rack of lamb recipe where we turn it over and we actually cook on the convector itself, on the plate setter. It's a cracking recipe. And there's a cauliflower with a black sesame and truffle oil dressing, which is to die for. You've got to try it. It's amazing. So those are the only times I ever cook the other way. Definitely don't do it for pizza. If you're doing it for pizza and you've got the baking stone sitting on top of the convector, the baking stone will get hotter and hotter and hotter, and you'll end up burning all your pizzas. So the first one might be perfect, but the next one will be burnt, and so on. We talked a little bit about that online this week. If you are doing a pizza and the bottoms are burning, it's either the top of your egg hasn't got hot enough, you haven't let it warm up enough, or your pizza stone is getting too hot. And what I do, and I don't know if this is official advice, but I get a cloth, put it in some water and just wipe the pizza stone after the pizza is cooked, and that will cool the pizza stone a little. I've never broken one, but that isn't official advice, but that's what I do, and it's never failed me yet. So right, let's have a look in here. So what we should be able to see, Andy, not a lot going on. So if I get, yeah, it is a light. So if I pull this to the side, what you can see is we're a light in the middle, and I'm going to leave that a few more minutes. It is nice and warm, but I'm going to leave it a couple of minutes more just to get hot. It's got a lot of old charcoal and a lot of little bits in there. So the little bits tend to block the airflow. So if your egg isn't getting hot quickly, it's because you've got a lot of little bits in there. Fish them out, chuck them away, or put them to one side and then just sprinkle them on the top. But what you do need is good airflow. Right, let's, got a couple of things to make. So we're going to make these kebabs. So while this gets nice and hot, I'm going to make a dip for you. So let's go over here. So this morning, or overnight, we have made some Greek style yogurt. I'll post a recipe, but I use a thing called an Instapot. It's a slow cooker, and you put whole milk in there, you boil it, you put a little bit of your last week's yogurt in there, and then you make yogurt. And what we do is we hang it and strain it, and by straining it, it goes thicker, and it's proper Greek style, Greek yogurt, not Greek style yogurt. Greek style yogurt is a horrible thing. Anyway, so to it, we're going to add some garlic. So I'm just going to get a clove of garlic. Put those on there for now. So we'll chop that up. If you had a garlic press, that would work perfectly as well, but we're just going to put a bit of garlic. I'm going to put some molten salt on there. In fact, I'll go and get my big tub. Bit of molten salt on it, and then just run the knife over it. And you can see that's now pulp. And we'll pop that into our Greek yogurt. This is going to be nice and garlicky. I better wipe that board because we're going to do some other stuff on it. Put that out of the way. Right, I'll get a piece of cloth. One sec. How long are the buns, Helena?
You have got
38, 42.
1
No,
minute
9
20.
minutes. 9 minutes.
Oh no, 1 minute 20 for another thing that I put on.
Oh.
You said
It's 9 minutes. We're all right.
11:51.
Yeah, but we put a 6 minute timer
Right.
on or something.
Here I've just got some mint leaves. I've taken them off the stems just to speed this up. Bunch them up a bit, and then we'll just get in there, chop them up. Any questions, Helena?
No, but there is a request, can you write a book? We've had at least 2 people ask that. So
Can I write a book?
I think you should.
It's so hard. Maybe. Right, so we'll get our yogurt. We're going to get that mint in there. It's quite a lot, but it just tastes so delicious. And then I'm going to put in juice of the lemon, so my trusty lemon squeezer. I put the link up last week, so get that in there. Oh, that got me in the face. Right, all in, and then we're just going to mix that up. So this is to go with our brisket kebabs.
so hang on a moment, someone came back to us at the first timer, was the charcoal. What were we
Oh yeah, there you go. Charcoal, I haven't shut the lid yet. Perfect. I'm guessing 10 minutes, but the buns I don't want to guess too much, otherwise I'll burn them. That would be a disaster. Right, so we've got a minty Greek yogurt minty dip with garlic. You can add some extra salt in if you need to. We'll taste it in a bit, but that will be perfect. We're going to put that onto our kebabs. That's my bin bowl, isn't it? Yeah. Right. So, how long was that?
So you've had whatever time on you.
Oh, we're getting going. So my top tip for this, get in and pull it to one side a bit in the middle, and that will allow better airflow up the middle of your egg, and it will get hotter faster. So did leave the door open yet? So we get in there now. Perfect. Right, gonna leave that for a second, a bit longer. In here, so the brisket, I'll grab it out. I have a chunk of brisket here. Let's just dry it off. It's in I've got it in a sous vide. This thing just keeps the water. We're gonna cook it on the egg a little bit. But what you can see in this plastic bag is a piece of brisket, the flat and the point muscle here. I can just see the join there. It's got a nice bark on the outside. So I cooked this, and I'll pop it back in for now to keep warm. I cooked this earlier in the week, and what I tend to do is do a whole brisket. So get a 4 kilo, 5 kilo brisket, put salt and pepper on it, and I'm going to put a video up about this, by the way. Put salt and pepper as a rub all over it, put it in the egg at 110 degrees, and then cook it slowly. I put some wood chips and chunks in there to give it a smoke, and I cook it slowly. So that went on at 7:15, 7:30 on, I think it was Monday night, something like that. At 4:15 in the morning, what happens with the temperature is it comes up over time. So if time's going this, imagine this graph, time's going this way, temperature's going this way. As the temperature of the meat comes up, and then it will start to slow down, it goes flat, and I'll publish the graph on the video, but it goes flat as the outer layers of the meat are drying out, and that's called the stall. Don't panic at that point, but you need this stall, and then it will start to come out of the stall. And just as it's starting to come out of the stall, normally around 75, 76, 77 degrees C, the temperature of the meat, then you wrap it. And I wrapped it in pink butcher's paper, and then brought the whole thing up until you can probe it like butter. And that happens when the meat gets to about 92 to 95 degrees C. So that whole process took until from 7:30 at night until about 1 in the afternoon. So quite a long time. But what I do then is I then take my brisket, and I've got a vac pack machine. I vac pack it and chuck it in the freezer. So this has been in the freezer all week, and then defrost it, and I normally just warm it up in there, but I'm going to warm it up on the egg in a bit.
Okay, so someone's just asked, can you buy American looking brisket in the UK? The stuff in the UK he's seen looks very thin compared.
Yeah, so American brisket is grass fed and quite fatty. If you look at any of the videos, you'll see them trimming big lumps of fat off it. You know, Aaron Franklin is the guy who is probably the best person cooking brisket in the world. Has a restaurant in Austin, Texas, and one day I will get there. But kind of ironic, since I was supposed to move and live in Austin 20 plus years ago. But we won't go into that story, Helena. That's got her. She just spilled a drink around her front. Essentially, I stayed here rather than going to Austin because of her.
Yay!
Anyway, but yeah, it's called a full pack of brisket. It's a whole piece. Now, British brisket or British cows aren't fed on corn, so they don't get as fatty. But there is no reason why you can't cook a British brisket and cook it well. And there's a whole forum called Lean British Brisket or something on Facebook. Bill Gardner is brilliant at cooking brisket, so I think he moderates that forum. So yeah, have a look at that. But no, British brisket, if you go and talk to take a picture of a full packer, talk to your butcher, they'll be able to cut it off in just the same way as the Americans. Mine came from the GOG, the farm shop up the road, and they know how to cut a brisket with both muscles on it and so on. Right, our egg is going nicely now. So Andy, I'm trying to show so you can see. We've got nice flames in the middle, or nice fire in the middle. That's all we need really, a good heat source. And then we want to pull our lid shut, open the top fully, and leave it for a good 5 minutes, and it should come up to 180 degrees in 5 minutes. If it doesn't, your egg needs a good clean, or your charcoal needs to be chucked out and new stuff put in. This may take a little bit longer than that. But
Okay, so
when I wrap the brisket, I didn't this week, but you can do. You can just put a bit of beef stock in there when you wrap it in the paper. That will steam it a little bit. It will keep it moist, but I don't. I didn't this time. Maybe I should have done. This one wasn't. You know, it's one of the hardest cooks to get right. I say to everyone, brisket is the hardest cook. Yeah, this one turned a little bit dry on the ends, but the bit that we've got here should be lovely, but you'll see. Right, how long on the buns? 50,
About
probably.
now.
Let's have a little look. Oh, look at those. So I'm going to grab those two. Bottoms are looking nice.
Who were?
Andy. So they're looking pretty good. I'm going to give them another minute, one more minute. So yeah, buns are looking good. Helena, I didn't bring a cooling rack. Can you grab a cooling rack, a little bit of water in a jug, and some beef stock? Because I forgot to get that.
Yes, and someone has asked why we use butcher's paper rather than foil.
Perfect. So the question was, why do I use butcher's paper rather than foil when I'm cooking brisket? Basically, butcher's paper lets a bit of the smoke in, lets a bit of the moisture out. It's a sort of, it's not as foil, you lock everything in, and what you can tend to do with that is you steam the brisket so you can lose the bark around the outside. It's better with butcher's paper. You get it from Amazon. It's on my there's a link to where you can buy it from my brisket recipe, so please follow it. I get paid like 3p every time somebody buys some pink butcher's paper, but it all helps. So yeah, just follow that link. But yeah, you'll get a better result with butcher's paper because it lets some of the moisture out. Yeah, thank you. Right, thank you very much. That's a lot of water for that bit. Right, so let's get these buns out. Right, they look great. So let's see if we can do it onto it. How's that?
Awesome.
Right. One more thing, Helena. I've forgotten my gloves.
Okay.
Right, we'll let those. I'm going to take them off the paper. So burger buns, homemade burger buns in 13 minutes at 220 degrees C. Right, so we'll let those cool. I'm going to take my baking stone out. I'm actually going to take out, I'm going to take I'll take the baking stone off. I'll put that on the floor. I'm going to take my plate setter out because we're going to use this in a minute to cook flatbreads for the brisket. Oh, have a look at that temperature. So we're well over 180. So that just shows what you can do with an egg. You can get it easily up to 180 in 15 minutes to be ready to cook. I always bring it to 180, even if I'm cooking at 110, because you need to warm up the dome. If you feel this, it's cold still, so we're warming it up, and that's the whole point of that, is just to start warming that up. Right, so I'm going to put in, we'll go for, take one of those off. I'm using the expander, but I'm just going to pop that in. I'm going to use a cast iron plancher today, so we'll put that on the top like that, and I'm going to let that warm up. You see it's got a bit rusty. I left it out in the rain. Don't worry about that. What we can do is just get a bit of foil, scrub it in a minute, put a bit of oil on it, it will go black. But that, and I'm going to pull it shut a bit. We're going to let that warm up and we'll make the burgers on there. Right, while we're doing that, I'm going to come to this one. So I know I've got 3 eggs, but I'm trying to cook everything at the same time. You can stage this. So for the brisket, we're going to make some deep fried onions, crispy onions. So you have a look at this egg, and I'm going to open it up now a little bit, but you can see the temperature down here is less than 150 degrees C. Okay, so that's important. Keep the temperature down. Now inside the egg, I've got a wok with some oil. So Andy, if you come in and have a look, sorry. I'm just going to get my thermopen in there, but what you'll see in the oil temperature is 190 degrees C. And that's because the oil is right by the flame, and then that heat's going up and around. So to be kept, all you need to do, keep your egg around 150, put your wok in, bit of oil in there. What I want is about 180, 190, because what I want to do with these is when I pop them in, you'll get that nice sizzle. Okay, so I'm just going to open it a tiny bit just to keep that heat up, but I want to fry these onions, so I'm going to pop them in off the edge so it doesn't splash me. This is just 2 onions fried, 2 onions sliced nice and thinly, and what we're going to do is shut the egg and let those fry. So in about 10 minutes those will be nice and crispy. 10-15 minutes. They take a lot longer than you think.
One of your trusty followers says you're not going to shut the door down a little bit.
Yeah. Thank you, trusty follower. So yeah, shutting the door at the bottom. I actually left it for a bit because we've still got that ceramic plate and the dome of the egg to warm up. And what I'm trying to do is get this one to about 200 degrees C. So I'm just going to turn my fan off over here. I've unplugged it, by the way. If you look under the table, it's unplugged. But I just forgot to turn it off, so it's whirring in the background. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, smash burgers. Really simple. You can spend a lot of time making a very good burger. I'm just going to grab some salt. Or you can do these. So we're going to get a bit of mince. This was from a different farm shop this week, Longhorns, just down the road. So this is their own beef, so it's just beef at the moment in there. Just going to put this in the bin. Let's get this a bit warmer still. I'm going to open it. So I'm just heating up that cast iron. So a little bit of salt going in, not too much, probably plenty, and a little bit of pepper. Now what I haven't done is put in breadcrumbs, cumin, all of that other stuff, you know, mustard. If you like your Botham burgers, then, you know, Jamie Oliver, Burt style burger, you can do all of that. All I've got in is meat, salt and pepper, and that's it. And I'm just going to squidge that together. Now what I am going to do is leave that a couple of minutes while that heats up, because it's still down a bit. Let's do that, open it a little bit more. Just want that cast iron just takes a little while to get warm. So we'll get that. And they're now ready to go on. So while this heats up, let's go and make the flatbreads. So let me just wash my hands quickly. Any questions, Helena?
Somebody says, do you inject eggs? And I said, we used to, but we don't tend to do it much these days.
Yeah, so the question was, do I inject my meats? I don't typically inject, I'll inject a turkey with some butter and some garlic. But for pulled pork, for brisket, I don't tend to inject. Keeping it moist is not about getting moisture in there, it's about how much fat is in that piece of meat. So a nicely marbled piece of meat, there it goes, it's gone rushing up. A nicely marbled piece of meat will be more moist. So just look, you know, it's definitely worth paying a little bit more for a nicely marbled piece of meat.
How much mince have you got there?
How much mince? A handful, that's what I asked for.
Helpful.
Yeah, so have a look in the bowl. About that much. I could weigh it, but I tend to do things by eye a lot.
How many is that going to make?
This will make 4, maybe 3 or 4.
500
Depends on
grams.
how big you want them. So can you see it's rushed up now? We've got that going nicely, so I'm going to pull it shut a little bit. I'm going to pull the bottom door shut a little bit now. Our cast iron should be warming up, so let's make these first and we'll do the burgers, then we'll move on to the brisket. So probably swap sides, and it's easier for me to do this right-handed. So I'm going to take a bit of mince. Now these are called smash burgers, so ball it up nicely. That'll be a nice size burger. So I'll do one. I'm going to put it in my bowl. A bit more for that. Let's just make a couple today. We'll use the rest a bit later because they're going to go, if we don't eat them, they'll go cold. So yeah, ball it up nicely, looking good. And what I do want to do is just clean that off. I'll grab a bit of foil. One sec. So those of you who've been on the videos before, you'll see it, but I always get foil, crunch it up, open my egg carefully because it's nice and hot. Need to be careful with this because it's a little bit, just losing it there. It's not hooked on properly. It's my fault, I didn't hook it on. And then I'm just going to wipe it with a bit of paper towel, grab my oil. A little bit of oil on there. Oops. There we go. And grab another bit of paper towel. That'll take off the rust which I got on it in the week. So I'll just grab another bit. It's getting hot. Yeah, this is the Half Moon. If anyone's asking, this is the Half Moon cast iron plancher for the expander system. You can use it without the expander system, works fine. So but yeah, there we go, should be cleaned up enough for me. Anyway, let me throw that away, and we'll get a little bit of oil on there, tiny bit, and get our burgers on. Now these are called smash burgers because what we're going to do is squash them. Now you can buy cast iron presses and stuff. I don't think you need to. Just get them. Just get a set of what do you call these? A fish slice or a turner or whatever. Squash them down. Get them to the size you want them, and then we're going to leave them a couple of minutes so they cook nicely on one side and flip them over. So we'll pull that down. Control that temp. So I'll leave that there. So yeah, 2 nice smash burgers. So let me wash my hands, we'll get everything ready for them. Oh, I've got my kitchen towel there. Right, let's take a couple of rolls.
Charcoal are you getting through at the moment, Nick?
How much charcoal? Quite a lot. I've left my bread knife. I'll just use my chef's knife. Oh, they're nice and soft. Perhaps they could have done with a tiny bit more, but not a lot. They're looking lush. Yeah, we've just had a charcoal delivery yesterday, so we're all right. So if anyone needs charcoal and they're in the area, you can come and get it from me. So, right, let's get these ready. Filthy American mustard. If you're going to do a burger, you've got to do it right. Let's these are the bottoms. So, dirty American mustard, ketchup. Got to be right. You'll notice there's absolutely no vegetables in this other than gherkins. You've got to have a gherkin in a burger for me. Get those in there. Right, let's go and flip those burgers over. So remember to burp it. It's hot. Get a nice crispy outside there. And then you can press them down. These are smash burgers. They're not supposed to be big, fat and juicy. They're supposed to be gnarly and crispy on the outside, so we might want to, what you can do is move them to another bit of the grill because it'll be hotter and they'll get a better crust on them. So we'll give those another minute or so.
You've got to check your onions.
Check my onions. Who's worrying about my onions?
I like it, Franco.
So come in, you'll see fat needs turning up. Onions are starting to crisp up, but they're not. It's not too hot. I'm going to turn this up a bit, but they're bubbling away nicely, under control. Let's turn it up a little bit. Putting those cold onions in there will drag the temperature down. So I'm just going to blow my nose. So yeah, they're fine. Right, burgers. Or a bit more. Give them another couple of minutes. Now these aren't supposed to be pink in the middle. If you like them big, fat and pink, smash burgers aren't those. And I love them like that, by the way, big fat ones. But if you're going to do that, just mince your own meat. You shouldn't do it with mince from the butcher because the outer layers of the meat are where the bacteria are. There's none inside. But as soon as you mince it, you mince that bacteria in there. And if you let the butcher do it and it sits around for a long time, those bacteria have time to multiply. So it's a lot safer if you mince your own meat. So there you go. Right. How are we doing for time? Not very good this week. We're a bit behind. So let's get these. Oh, they look nice. Yeah. In the interest of time, I'm going to take them off, but they are pretty nice. Now what I'm going to do is I've got a little cast iron pan. I'll put my other grid on just to hold it, and I'm going to warm that brisket through on the cast iron pan. So let's take this. These gloves, by the way, are on my site. They're brilliant. You can get hold of just about anything with them. So I'll pop that down there. Pop that up. We'll get our pan nice and warm. So let's go and put these burgers in without dropping them, hopefully. Oh, I forgot to put the cheese on. Now, let's do it. It's got to be packet cheese. What I would normally, if I was going to do it, and I remembered, you should put this on, when you flip the burger, put it on top while it's cooking the other side, and it will melt all over it. But we'll put some packet cheese on there. That'll melt nicely. And there we have really quick and easy burgers. So that is the perfect takeaway. Let's get a knife out of the way. Right. Let's get on to the brisket. In fact, no, let's do the kebab and then we'll do the brisket last because that is cooked. I'm going to put these on the plate. Just going to tidy up a tiny bit.
Are they okay to eat?
Yeah. I can see that. Here we go.
Pass one over.
I'm not going to eat both, I'll eat a little bit. I'm hungry. Don't like to see it go to waste.
Get in there. I should take a bite on camera, shouldn't I? Let me just wipe this board.
Oh, they were really good buns. They've got like crust on them.
They're crusty on the outside and lovely and soft on the inside. So, yeah. You got a bit of tissue?
Can you pass Helena some?
Please.
Is she making a mess? Don't
Yeah.
get all of that on my keyboard. Right. Get back to your job. Right. Flatbreads, you've all seen these. We did these a few weeks ago. So I have my standard dough. It's just a standard bread recipe, but it's just got 3 teaspoons of sugar in it. So it's been rising, you can see. That's the first rise. I'm just going to knock it back.
Say 3 teaspoons.
Yeah, 3 teaspoons. I'm going to take a bit of dough out, sort of a hand size. If you weighed this, it would probably be about 240 grams. Bit of flour on there. Let's grab a rolling pin. I'm going to roll this out until it is just less than a pound coin thick. You can see there's bubbles in there. Helps if you're doing it on a flat board. I should have brought my other chopping board out. This one's got a lovely groove on because it's for resting meat. But it does work. Just the ends of the rolling pin have been held up in some places. So now you could do it if you want to stretch it like that, where you fling it and it stretches, but a bit like a pizza base. Doesn't have to be perfect. That looks good to me. I'm going to take this. I'm going to go over to this egg. I'll do it this way around again, other way around, Andy, so you can see. It's a little bit warm, but we'll go for it. It's 250. Open it up. Straight on the stainless steel grid at the top. And we're going to over the charcoal, and we're going to give it a couple of minutes. It's going to act a bit like a tandoor oven. Yeah, that'll be fine. Yeah, don't panic, people, about the onions. We'll do this.
Crispier the better.
I'll have a look. Yeah, crispy. Andy loves her onions crispy. Yeah, they need a bit more. Look. Yeah, let's go back to our flatbread, Andy. Those are fine. Cooking away nicely. It does take a long time to drive off all the liquid. I'm going to open this up a bit more, get it a bit hotter. Don't panic. Right.
She's still going.
Huh? She's still eating the burger. Is it good? Didn't put any lettuce or tomato in, just... Right. Can you see?
Oh, wow.
So it's starting to puff up. We'll give it a few more seconds. It's cooking through nicely. Just worried we're going to run out of time, so we're good. Yeah, we're good. Instagram only lasts for an hour, so that's why we try and do 45 minutes, but this is the second week in a row I've overrun. So flip it over. Going to give it a couple of minutes on that side. Oh, it's looking good. So we'll shut that down, let it go. So our pan should be nice and warm now in there while that's cooking. I'll just take the brisket out. What I thought I'd do is just give it a little bit more liquid. So I'm going to grab my knife. So into this pan that we've got warming up, I'm going to put a tiny bit of beef stock. Whoop. Tiny bit of water. And I'm going to crumble this brisket in there because this will crumble. Whoa. Now it's crumbling because it's been in that sous vide. It's beautiful. And that will just add a little bit more flavour to it. So you can see the bark on the edges here. Just crumble that. I'm just going to go and give these a little wipe. Ooh. Come over here, Andy. I will get this flatbread off before I nuke it. Look at that. Put that over there. I can make another one if I wanted. So let's get this brisket just run through, just to give it a little bit more moisture, a bit of beef stock. Just break it up. You want this broken up for these kebabs. Short ribs, yeah, pork beef short ribs will work perfect. It's the same, pretty much the same cut. So give that a second or two. Let's get these onions, have a look. And in the interest of time, I might take them out, some of these out, because we need to make that flatbread up. So let's just take some out. I'm going to continue cooking the others, but we'll take some out. All you need to do, pop them on a plate with a bit of kitchen roll. I'm going to get the others a little bit more crispy, but for this one that we're going to make now, that'd be fine. So let's take those. Thank you, Andy. We'll take them over to the plate. Look at the plate. She's still eating. Oh, did she get caught out? Let me grab her off. Yes. So this is my favourite kebab. Right, I'm going to take some of our, hang on, fire brigade going past, minty yoghurt, and spread it all over this. Be generous, it's delicious. Okay, we've got that. I'm going to grab my brisket. Get the gnarly black bits, the outside, it's delish. Okay, I'm going to pop that on something heat proof. I'll pop it down there. We're going to get some of our onions. Spread those over. Now, hopefully we'll get them a bit more crispy next time, but they'll still be delicious. Now, in this pan here, I have some white cabbage that I've just lightly pickled, and the recipe is on the website. It's pickled in apple cider vinegar, so a bit like a sauerkraut really, but well, not really I guess, but we'll get some of that over the top. Beautiful. So that was just cooked for about 10 minutes until it softens a bit, and then I just leave it in the juice. We're going to put some coriander, sprinkle it over to give it a bit of colour. Perfect. And final one, sriracha. You can get all sorts of different ones of these. They've all got different coloured tops. The standard one I think is green. This one, I like the brown one. It has, it should say in here, extra garlic. It's beautiful. So get that over the top. That's your chili sauce for your dirty kebab. And that is a thing of beauty. You've got to try it. It is stunning. So homemade flatbreads, homemade kebab, brisket on this one, but it could be any other meat of your choice. Some onions, some pickles, a bit of sriracha, a bit of coriander. Beautiful. So I'll pop that one down there in front of you, Andy.
Do we know what we're doing next week?
Yeah. Do we know what we're doing next week? No. So I won't forget about those. So don't worry about it. It's not going to catch on fire. Because you've got the lid down, we should be fine. I'll come out into the light a bit. So next week, no. So any questions have we got?
No, I haven't got any questions at the moment.
Okay, so next week, what do you want to see? Do we want to carry on this theme? One we have been requested is paella. So we could do a paella. What else could we do?
Let me go back.
So yeah, shout in, you know, your ideas. Let us know what you'd like to see, and we'll do another one next week. We're going to continue doing these. We love doing them. We get lots of feedback. It's beautiful when we see all of you lot trying the cooks and doing them. The hits on the website are going up and up every month, which is great. You know, for my brand. Yeah, I've been able to help a number of you out with buying your eggs and buying accessories and so on. So if you do want anything from Big Green Egg, do give me a shout. It helps us do this because, you know, the cookery school is shut. So yeah, do that. You can contact me, Nick at meatsmokefire.co.uk.
Oh, we're getting quite a lot of love for paella.
A lot of love for paella, apparently. Good. Yeah, it's great. So we do a paella, and we'll try and do something to mix with that, because part of that is quite dull. Well, once you've got the initial stages over, it's not the most exciting cook, but it is when you eat it. Yeah, full English.
Oh, crispy Peking duck.
Oh, like it. Crispy Peking duck. Done that. That can be done with lovely pancakes and Peking duck sauce and oh yes.
More tapas.
More tapas. Yeah, maybe we could do the albondigas that we didn't do on the cook last time, but we did afterwards, and I haven't written the recipe up because they were stunning. So maybe we'll do the albondigas and the paella at the same time. How's that sound? Perfect. So we've got a burger to eat, we've got a kebab to eat, we've got to get the onions off. Thank you, Franco, for reminding me. But yeah, thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed it. You know, do get in touch. Yeah, subscribe on YouTube. I will post this video up there, so it'll go onto the page so you can look at it afterwards. We will write up the remainder of the recipes we haven't done. So for example, the smash burgers, but that's really easy. But yeah, thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you hopefully next week. Cheers guys, have a great week with the sun out. Done.